Hello again, it's Noob, and yes, this is the return of the new and improved Sparrows Black Flag Dimple lockpick set from Sparrows Lockpicks. This was actually kindly sent to me by Sparrows Lockpicks for the purposes of this review. It's not a paid review, however, all thoughts of my own. But for full disclosure, I have worked with Sparrows in the past on a number of different designs and concepts and hope to continue to do so in the future. So anyway, do with that information as you will. Let's carry on with the review. So what do we have here? We have a set of 7, just move this, lockpicks in this case. A plastic case with some foam inserts. Get all your flags in here. Let's pull those out. And I might be thinking, what's different to this set than the old set? From what I can tell, it's just the way that the flags have been bonded to the handles to make that stronger. But I don't know the full details. And I'll just put those to one side. And you also get in this compartment a load of, I think, steel. Dimple lock tension tools, these Z wrenches. Some of the ones which look like this you can buy seem to be made of some kind of pot metal or aluminium. These are really strong. So I think that's really good because I like to put a lot of tension on my Dimple locks when I'm picking them. So I need nice thick turners which are going to give me the torque that I need. But I mean, they're all different sizes, all different things. It's hard to get excited about turning tools, but the fact is there's a literal handful of these, which is going to be brilliant for being able to tension a whole heap of Dimple locks. Then we have all the flags. Give me 2 seconds and I'll just lay them out so they make sense. So try to put these in some sort of order. You have left-handed and right-handed flags. You can see here we have 2 which are curved, very light curve on the tips, but this is sort of a left curve and a right curve here. You can see from the reflections here that they're slightly curved. That's useful for reaching over some wardings. Then we've got a bunch of left-handed flags because they're pointing to the left, and you'll see that these are different thicknesses and lengths, although these two are quite similar, I would say. This one's the larger one. If you do look, and I actually do like this, the little Sparrows logo, the top of that logo, that keyway, is in line with the tip. So when it's on its side like that, you know that the flag is pointing to the left. There we go. And so as you're picking, you want to see, probably if you're picking the pins down, you'll see it, the head of that keyway just bob down. And that's the same for all of these. You can see that they are aligned along the tips. Then you have a couple of right-handed ones, and you can see there and there. Now this one is technically, I think, a double-sided flag. I don't think it's left or right. So you do have a left-hand flag bias in this set, which isn't unusual, but it's definitely something which you should be aware of. These picks have a rubber or rubberized coating on there. Don't know what material is actually used, and it has a solid sort of steel core in there, apart from at the end, which wiggles a little bit. The shape is of a hexagon, which actually it feels all right. I think because the tip here has more facets on there. Can you see? A bit like the way a gemstone would be cut. It feels more round than you'd expect. And that tip seems quite comfortable on the finger there. The roundness of the shanks, I guess you'd want to call them, this part, is really nice, very smooth. The tips seem to be well tumbled, although they're not chisel shaped. They are well tumbled. We'll see how they perform in a lock in a minute. And yeah, they're quite, they feel not weighty, but they feel they've got substance. They're not light in the hand, but neither are they heavy. I think the biggest test on this is going to be putting it into a lock. So we are in the vise with one of my favourite Dimple locks to pick, an Avocet Pioneer Plus. Not super easy, good quality lock. And got the really thick turning tool. the bigger of the right hand flags. We're going to pick this anti-clockwise just because we can. I'm going to pop this in and we're going to see what's binding. Pin 6 at the back is definitely binding. Let's have a go on that. Nice click. 5 binding. Nice click. 3 now. Nice click. 2. Nice click. Anything on 1 yet? Yeah, 1's binding. Nice click. So we normally go into a bit of a false set with this lock. So like that. So now we need to find what pin is left over, and it feels like pin 4 here. So give me counter rotation, and I think I got that. Oh, there you go, I do now. And we have the open. For those of you who are curious, that's what the pick tip looks like after picking that lock. Next up, I've got another classic Dimple lock here, which is the Iseo R6. Again, big recommendation. People want to learn how to pick these really quite good quality locks. Just got one of these turning tools. I don't know which one that is, but it fits really nicely in the warding. And I have a left-hand flag, the big one. So this time I'm going to do some clockwise tensioning. This has to go a bit of an angle down the keyway because it's got some cool warding in here. Pin 5 there, 6, and again little clicks, really good clicks out to this. Back through, pin 2 here. There you go, into a bit of a false set. Back through, back through, back through. That was 2, so must be 3. Yeah, that's what gives that false set. A bit of counter rotation here on pin 1, and oh, got the open. Going to use the same flag again, just rotate it around for you to look how straight that is. Going to really rack up the torque on this keyway. You can probably tell by my thumb how much pressure I'm doing. This is a cheap lock, so I don't mind. I just want to see what the pick is like under a bit more pressure as I'm picking these pins. 6, 5, where's 4? Here. There, 4, 3, 2. Pin 1 now, binding heavily. We've got the open. And yeah, that's what the flag looks like at the end of that, with really high torque on the lock. And lastly, going to use one of the thinner Dimple flags, left-handed. Got some clockwise tension. Pin 1's the first one to bind here. Okay, let's set that one nicely. Good. Just going to nudge past the tops of the pins 2 and 3 on pin 4, 5 and 6. Don't think I've fully set 6 there. Oh, I've got the open. There we go. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed those demonstrations. I tried to use something like Avocet and Iseo locks because they're familiar, they're common, they're good quality to demonstrate these picks, and I didn't modify the picks in any way at all. No filing or sanding of the tips. They are used directly out of the pack. Now, what I like to do at this point of the video is do some pros, cons, and then consider things that I would improve or do in the future, that kind of thing. So pros first. So pros, let's start out with these Dimple turners here. I mean, double-sided Dimple turners, a whole bunch of them here. This will get you into a lot of locks. Will it get you into all the locks? I don't know. Probably not, but it's a really good start. I don't know of any other Dimple picking set that comes with this many tension tools in it. So I think that's pretty good. Then they're strong as well, so especially these thick ones. They are like super strong. So, you can get really high torque. I like to use heavy tension when I'm picking Dimple locks. So I'm a bit of a fan. Other things, they're surprisingly comfortable. They really are. They're this rubber or rubberized coating on here. It's grippy. It's not cold to the touch. The tip is wide enough. It's comfortable for me. The facets on here add to the grip, but they also round off this hexagonal shape. So I think it's a good combination. You can actually use this to see where you are in the lock. Sometimes you go to the end of a lock and you accidentally turn it at an angle that you didn't intend and lose track of the tip. So I do like the fact that these little red keyways help you to understand where the tip of the pick is, what angle it's at. That can be really helpful. The shank or shaft of these picks, again, well rounded. They don't drag inside the lock. You can rotate evenly. It doesn't catch on the warding. That's really nice. And the general finish of the tips, grab a couple here, is pretty good. They've been tumbled and they slide in and out of the lock quite smoothly. This isn't a pro or a con, it's just an observation. So before I go on to cons, I'm just going to put that in there. I think that the tips are strong enough. They're adequate. They're a little bit flexible, but they seem to hold up well to bending. You can deform them after a while. This is what, a 10-15 degree angle, and it seems to be holding up quite well. If you bend it maybe to 30, why you do this, I've got no idea. But if you bend it to what, a bit more, it will probably hold that shape a little bit more, but nothing you can't straighten out with your finger. Be a bit more extreme, don't want to break, because the metal will fatigue eventually. But if you do like a what angle would you call that? It's almost 45 degrees. It will again deform a little bit, but nothing. A quick bend the other way won't resolve. I don't know. They feel pretty strong to me. You'd have to sort of experience them, see whether you like them, but I felt that the feedback was pretty good. In terms of negatives, most of the tips are pretty good, right? So if I grab any of these ones here, the tips are nice and narrow, they slide through the lock fine. The one pick which was a little bit different was the center flag, where it's neither sided. And I think it's just the way that it was manufactured, the way they have to make these. If you look there, it's quite a blunt tip. I found that did not glide in and out of the lock particularly well. Now, that wouldn't take long to file the tip into a little point, and even on the back edge, probably take me less than a minute to do that with some finger files. But as it stands, it does, I think, just need that little bit of extra finishing to make that glide through the lock a bit easier. As it is, it's a little bit blunt, and I found that it was oversetting some of the higher set pins. This is a bit of an anomaly in the set, but it's worth pointing out. That just needs a little bit of finishing. All the rest did not need any finishing at all. Although, as ever, if you want to put a little file, bit of sandpaper over the tips, you'll probably find they perform a little better. Any other negatives? Yeah, the only other thing is the left-hand, right-hand bias. You've got 7 picks here. It would have been nice to have seen, genuinely, the center flag in the middle, and then the left and right curved, and then the sort of large and medium flags left and right. I don't really know why there's a sort of a left-hand flag bias. I mean, I don't think it matters too much. These Dimple flags will get you into a ton of locks, but I would have just preferred a bit of balance. That's all. Is it a negative? I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so any other comments? Anything I'd do differently? Apart from resolving that left-hand, right-hand imbalance, I really, really like, right, so this isn't a positive or a negative, it's more of a preference. I really like a centre flag, but it would be really good to have one which was, where's the bigger flag size? Something like this. I would like to have one of these centre flags as big as this. I quite like a larger tipped flag. 2 reasons: it gives you better surface area, but also with a larger tip you can file it down to your preference, while a smaller tip you can't add metal to it. So that would be my only kind of like, oh, that would be really great if comment on this. So what does this set you back? Well, at the time of filming, of course it'll change depending on when you watch this, and exchange rates, and not including postage and stuff. On the Sparrows American website, This is at 79 US dollars, which is around 63 pounds and 60 pence in UK pounds. So you know, that's the price range. That sets itself sort of as a mid-range kit in terms of Dimple kits. And yeah, I think that, you know, you get a reasonable set of Dimple flags for the price. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Let me know your experience if you've got the new version of the Black Flag set from Sparrows. I do read all the comments, reply to as many as I can. If you like this video, leave a like. If you have not subscribed, then please do consider subscribing, so it really helps my channel out, and I'll see you all next time.